Hi everybody, this is Judy at Judy in the Kitchen. Today we're going to roast some eggplant slices which are really delicious, but we're going to do a two-way test comparison. Some of it will be lightly coated with some extra virgin olive oil and the rest of it will not have any oil on it, and we're going to compare the results when we're finished. The first thing that we want to do is prepare this eggplant. And the first thing I'm going to do is just cut off both ends of it. And you do not have to peel eggplant to enjoy it, but I'm one of those who prefers to peel it. So we're going to peel this, and then we're going to slice it, and then we're going to salt them to make it sweat a little bit. My eggplant is peeled, and now I'm going to slice it into roughly 1/4 inch slices. My eggplant has been sliced up, and I've laid these slices out single file here on a large cutting board, and it's really covered the cutting board. Now there's two ways to go about salting it. One way would be to heavily salt it, and I mean to heavily salt both sides of it and allow it to sweat a lot. And you can allow it to sweat for anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes. It's your choice on how long you want to go. When you heavily salt it like that, you want to make sure that you rinse the eggplant really well in running water, pat it dry with paper towels, something like that, and then proceed onward with your recipe. Or you can lightly salt the eggplant and then allow it to sweat however long you want, 15 to 30 minutes, and then pat it dry with a paper towel and don't rinse it. Then, of course, when you go to use it for whatever recipe you're using it for, you would not add any salt to it. Now, I am going to just opt to lightly salt it with this. Now, it looks like I'm salting it a lot, but there's not a lot of salt that comes out of this thing at one time. So, I'm going to just do it this way. All these eggplant slices are going to be treated in the same way. And now, you see, we're just going to turn it over and very lightly salt the other side. We want this eggplant to sweat, and that helps to get the bitterness out of it. Alright, so now we're just going to let this sit for a bit and let it get ready. My eggplant has been allowed to rest for about 15 minutes. Now, I have a pan here, and if you can see on the parchment paper, I've written no oil. I drew a line in between and halfway down the paper, and on this side I've got the word oil. So this will help me to know which eggplant slices were treated with oil and which ones were not. So now I'm just going to pat them dry and separate them out. Now, you don't have to do this salting thing. The whole purpose of the salting is to get some of the bitterness out of the eggplant. And if you don't mind the bitterness, you certainly don't have to do this. I have a pastry brush here, and I'm just going to lightly coat these 6 slices with some extra virgin olive oil. Now we want to flavor these, and I'm going to just sprinkle it with a little bit of garlic powder. Now we've got just a little bit of Italian seasoning. No exact measurements here. I'm just taking it by the pinchfuls. There's my oven. It's preheated to 400 degrees. You can allow them to bake until they are really dry. They'll be sort of like an Italian flavored chip. Or you can allow them to roast until they are still a little bit of moist on the inside. And then they will have an eggplant flavor with an Italian flair to it. So you have 2 choices on this on how long you roast them. If you want them to go completely dry, they kind of lose the eggplant flavor and they taste like the Italian seasoning. But if you don't let them get completely dry, you'll still have that eggplant flavor. Alright, we'll tune back in when these are roasted. These were in the oven a little bit longer than what I anticipated I would do. You can see that, let's see, this is the no oil side and this is the oil side. Interestingly, the oil side browned more. Now, I did turn them over actually twice during the baking process so that each side would have an opportunity to brown, but you can see that the oil side did brown more than the non-oil side. I just took them out, so I'm going to allow them to cool just a little bit, and I'm going to taste a slice of each and let you know how I perceive the taste difference. Alright, you can see our no oil versus oil. The oil ones did brown more. Now I tasted them, and I didn't taste one that was overly brown, but I did taste one of the other ones, and actually the oil version was more moist than the no oil. So the no oils were drier. Again, these roasted for 33 minutes. If you didn't want them as dry, you could leave them in the oven for less time. 20 to 25 minutes might be just plenty. They tasted the same, obviously, although the ones with the oils had a slightly bit of a richness to them because of the oil. Although there was not a lot of oil on there, it did make a little bit of a difference. One, it made them brown more. Two, it kept them more moist, and it gave them a little bit of a richness. However, the no oil is passable. They are just drier, which if you cut them thicker, you could, they would be less dry and maybe just fine for you. Well, in this case with the eggplant, I'm not going to declare that any one is better than the other. They just did come out differently. With the no oil, they were drier. With the oil in there, they had some moisture to them and were a little bit richer. So how you choose to roast eggplant slices is going to be totally up to you. They both taste the same. Just the amount of moisture level is just a little bit different between the two. Well, I do hope this helps you out in some way in deciding how you want to roast your eggplant. This is Judy at Judi in the Kitchen. Bye for now.